Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Starfinder 2nd Edition Galaxy Guide. Before I get into it though, I just want to say for the record that this was sent to me by Paizo for the purposes of doing a review, so I do want to thank them for that. However, as is always the case with these videos, they are not scripting or pre-screening the video, and the opinion that I express is 100% completely and totally my own. So this is the first, I guess, official Starfinder 2nd Edition release. This isn't under the playtest banner like the playtest rulebook was, or the two adventure books that had come out during that time. There was the Cosmic Birthday and the Empires Devoured books, adventure books. So those were part of the playtest, but this is actually just part of the full-on 2nd Edition Starfinder game. And I think it makes sense to release this first, because I really don't think there's going to be a huge amount of difference between the Starfinder playtest book and the finalized rules. Definitely not as drastic a change as what we had from the Pathfinder 2nd Edition playtest book to the finalized rule set, because we already know what the mechanics are going to be like. That's already been established with the 2nd Edition Pathfinder game. So really, it's just a matter of kind of tweaking and altering the class abilities. So there might be some differences in terms of, like, you know, bonuses or like die types or range areas or things along those lines, but I don't think it's going to be a hugely drastic change. And so right now you can still use that 2nd Edition playtest book for your current Starfinder game, because that's what I'm doing. I'm actually running Starfinder 2nd Edition right now. I'm actually adapting the Drift Crisis for my current group, yeah, I'm really looking forward to checking this book out. So, like I said, this is your campaign setting book. And what's interesting about it is it's a little bit differently formatted than what you might expect. So we do have our main central hub area of the Packed World system right here in the book's like table of contents section. It gives you all the planets and locations included in the Packed World system, and it gives you basic descriptions of them here as well. So you will know which locations are essentially part of the Packed World system. Although Polonus, I guess I'm not entirely sure why this one's here. That seems to be part of like the Veskarium, but you do get all these like really cool locations that you can use right off the bat, so you know what the main kind of setting is. But the way the rest of the book is actually laid out is actually kind of neat. So we do have an updated version of like recent events. So we do have the fact that the planet of Octurn, the sort of like Lovecraftian, you know, mythos-infested planet, which was long believed to be a dormant elder being, has actually finally awoken, and has, like, the planet is basically destroyed when the newborn was created, or when the newborn finally emerged. So the planet of Octurn is completely gone now. And we got just some other updates here with, for example, the drift crash and the drift crisis stuff that took place, and the birth of the newborn. So now the current year is 325. I want to say that the previous first edition was like 317 or 318, I think. So anyway, we got that stuff there. So we got their little timeline. We do have the galaxy map here, which we do also show here on the table. The other side of the map just has that Packed Worlds description that we saw in the table of contents, so I'm not going to bother flipping the map over. But what's really cool about this book, and something that I really like as an approach, is rather than just doing like kind of the standard thing of like, okay, this is the Packed Worlds, and these are the planets within the Packed Worlds. This is the Veskarium. These are the planets within the Veskarium, right? This is the Aslanti Star Empire, right? And instead of like kind of breaking it down that way, instead, what they actually do is they break the worlds down by the genre that they best support. So we've got several different types of like gameplay styles that are actually represented here, and they've got various planets from all throughout the Starfinder galaxy that are kind of lumped into these different genres. Because I think if you're going to run something like a Starfinder where there's a lot of like exploration and vast distances that the players will travel, you're not going to spend your entire campaign in the Pact World system, right? You're going to branch out. You're going to go probably into like far space and stuff that's been largely unexplored. So having an idea of what kind of like gameplay style you want to run, I think that works really well. And breaking this down that way is a really cool approach, in my opinion. So for each planet, we do have things like how to start a campaign there. Different adventure hooks that you can use, different things you can do during encounters, exploration, and downtime. Important NPCs that you may see there, and then you've also got like different like campaigns, like short-term and long-term campaigns, and how things can sort of take place there, like what you could do for like one-off games versus what you could do for like long-term campaigns within these different types of genres. So we're not going to go through all of the different planets here, but and then we got like the high-tech adventures. So, like the Abalon, which I believe is the planet closest to, I think it's one of the closest planets to the sun in the Pact World system. It is almost exclusively populated by robots and automatons. So if you want to have almost like a Terminator type of campaign, or one that is just very, very like high tech sort of stuff, then you can actually you can do that within within this sort of like idea here. You also have like the Bubble City, which takes place inside of the Pact World sun. So there's these like tubes or whatever you want to call them, tunnels that you can travel through safely, and you can actually live inside of the Pact World sun, and there's like a whole city there. There's a sun worshipping cult, or not cult, but a sun worshipping religion that is sort of like created or lives within the city. So there's definitely some cool locations you can do within like these high tech type of planets and type of locations. You've also got the fantasy adventures. So if you wanted to run a more conventional fantasy, but with a science fiction, science fantasy sort of twist to it, then these are the locations you can do for that, like Castrovel being this sort of like jungle planet with ancient ruins and, things like that. A really cool location to have there. We've also got war-torn adventures. So if you want to do something where you're in the middle of like this, different types of wars and battles and conflicts, you can do that too. So we've got like the Atlantic Star Empire there with this rifleman showing their tactical high heels off. We got the actual reference to the Empire's Devoured adventure book that came out during the playtest. So it's kind of cool to see that as well. Then we've got Into the Unknown. So this is where things can just get super weird. Well, not super weird. Just like, I shouldn't say that, because weird is actually a category which we'll take a look at here. But yeah, just some, again, I guess sort of bizarre or interesting locations that may not fit into some of the other genres that are covered here. We've also got some horror-based locations, including like Eox, a planet that consists entirely of undead because they inadvertently destroyed their own planet's atmosphere. So anything that was living, the only way for them to continue on was to embrace undeath. So that's kind of like what that entire planet is now. They have the Corpse Fleet, which is a military organization that Eox definitely does not support. Like, it's not a sanctioned military operation, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it is. It's kind of like the Section 31 of Eox there. So we do have like different types of horror. So there's like the undead horror, and there's just like different types. There's like cosmic horror type of stuff there as well. So you got a few different genres to kind of choose from there, and then we have just the weird adventures. So just some like really bizarre locations where the creators were just able to completely go nuts. Or some of like the most unique looking creatures in the Starfinder catalog can be found. After that, we have ports of call. So this is a bit more specific information on like very not minor, but like much smaller locations than like entire planets. So we have Absalon Station, which during an event called The Gap, where like 300 years or something of recorded history is just simply gone, missing. removed from any sort of like record books or database or even living creatures' memories. And when that happened, the world of Galarian, where the Pathfinder role-playing game takes place, has disappeared, and in its place, in its orbit, is the space station called Absalom Station, with Absalom being one of the kind of like the well-known cities in the Pathfinder, the Galarian setting. So we've got the station there again. These are like really good central hub locations where you can kind of either begin your campaigns or be places that the players can kind of stop in and rest and recover from other adventures that they've gone on. So they've got Absalom Station. We've got the Adari, which is actually a Kasatha, like a generation society ship. So it's this massive ship that houses like an entire population, because their home planet is gone, right? Like I think it was lost to the swarm, if I recall correctly. So they have these ships that they evacuated in, and the Adaris actually become an officially recognized planet in the Pact Worlds system. So they actually have all the protections and all the rights of any other world within that system. So that's kind of cool to see. So yeah, we got a few different locations like that. We've got the second city, and honestly, I don't remember where this one takes place. The Invemi system. Outermost edges of the anomaly, the shattered space known as the absurdity. Okay, so I think this might have been mentioned in one of the Adventure Pass type of things. But yeah, really, really cool to see. So we got these different locations, these sort of hub areas that the player characters can kind of start in. And then after that, we've got new backgrounds. So there's actually some cool ones. They're also broken down by genre again as well. So if you're running a specific style of campaign, then there are ones that might be better suited for the players than some of the other ones, right? What I like are to see things like Space Trucker, because that instantly makes me think of Alien. But you've got like Arena Veteran. In my Starfinder game, I recently had the players go through a gladiatorial event called the Galarian Games on Absalom Station. Absalom Station. I don't know why it's so hard for me to pronounce the M at the end of that one. But anyway, so it's kind of cool to have stuff like that in there. You got Bartender, you've got Hacktivist, you've got Fisher, Hitchhiker, Stowaway, like I said, the aforementioned Space Trucker. You can just have a chatty background, so if you're a synthetic, you can be overly talkative, kind of like the like a C-3PO type of automaton. I think would make sense for something like that. So again, really cool to see. There's a busker. So you have like street performers there, which I live in Nova Scotia, and in our capital city of Halifax, during the summer, there's like this busker festival that takes place where you've got all these street performers that come from all over and like put on their shows or whatever, like do their performances down on the Halifax waterfront. We've never really gone to it, but I've like my sister's really big into stuff like that, so it's kind of cool that that's actually a background here in the Starfinder game. We've also got some factions here, like the Abadar Corp. So this is like your big giant like seedy corporation type of thing. So if you want like kind of like a Wayland Yutani-esque or Seegson-esque type of company to reference aliens again, then that might be something to sort of, throw at against the characters there. All the might of like their corporate wealth, sort of to try to oppress or discredit the player characters. It's what I would have used had I not had a player that had the noble background from when they were in Galarian, when they went through like the time rift that took them into the Starfinder setting, where like this, he had this like, family name that was well established. So it became like this big corporation that they just recently took down actually, and exposed them for their corruption. That's the one where they were secretly being led by a conspirator dragon, who would keep replacing the heir to that, like the family, legacy type of thing. And when he assumed his conspirator form, His breath weapon consisted of him spewing conspiracy theories, and it was a really fun fight to have. You got the free captain, so these are kind of like your pirates. A lot of them take place. They could be anywhere, any star system type of thing, but in the packed worlds, they tend to occupy the diaspora, which is like this asteroid belt. There's like mining operations that take place in the asteroid belt as well. So you've got these like pirates looking to claim all those resources. You've got the Hell Knights there, which were again a Pathfinder group as well, and we got the Hell Knight Skittermander. We have the Knights of Galarian, which I'm pretty sure derived from the Knights of Last Wall, but it's still kind of cool to see them like updated for the Starfinder setting. You got the Starfinder Society as opposed to the Pathfinder Society. Same thing, just updated for the new modern age. And then you got the Xeno Wardens, so these are your like space druids. It's actually kind of cool to see like an automaton, like a robotic Xeno Warden, like a robotic druid. But they have like, their ships are essentially like these living constructs. They're not like metal and, you know, wiring and stuff like that. Like they're actually like made out of like organic materials, which is kind of cool. And then we just have some other things. There's a corpse fleet mentioned there. Some other like minor minor groups. And then we got some new ancestries. So some new species to play as. And some of these are pretty cool, but the best one in the entire book, in my opinion, has to be the Contemplative. And I hope this book wasn't out of focus there around the top of the screen as I was going through and flipping through. So if it was, I apologize. I was looking at the book and not the viewfinder here. But we got the Contemplative. These are a species that have evolved beyond a lot of like need for physical ability. They've focused on mental exercises, like expanding their mental horizons. So they have like the ability to do like telepathy and some degree. Some of them can do like telekinetic stuff as well. And essentially, because they're so focused on developing their big giant brains, their body has become more or less like this vestigial piece that kind of hangs off of them. So they actually have the atrophied ability where they actually decrease their the bulk that they can carry, which is kind of interesting. So like they're not really cut out to use their physical body. They're more or less just looking to use their big giant brains. So it's kind of cool to see that stuff in there as well. Like so, these are just my favorite ones. Like I love how just weird and bizarre these things are. Like they're just brains. They're literally just brains with this little body on that, you know, is just kind of hanging there. But yeah, awesome stuff. I absolutely love it. We also got some Dragonkin, so if you wanted to play a large like half dragon or draconic type creature, that's available to you. You've got the Kalo, which are essentially aquatic creatures, aquatic humanoids. So that's kind of neat to see. We got the Sarkessians, which have like these holographic wings on them, which is kind of neat. And another one that I actually really like in here that's included would be the Valaka, because you can just like literally play like Star Fox or Star Wolf. Like if you want to be Fox McCloud, this is the ancestry to play for. Just really kind of cool to see stuff like that in here. You got to think that had to have been some sort of inspiration for them to include stuff like this in here. But yeah, really, really cool stuff. So this is actually a really cool book. Again, it comes with this fold-out poster map, double-sided. And yeah, I think this is a really great introduction to the Starfinder setting. I love the fact that they break it down by genre as opposed to just being like, this is this planetary system, this is that planetary system. Because generally, like, if you're running a campaign or you want to run a campaign, there's kind of a specific like gameplay style that you want to shoot for. And I think that breaking it down by genre first instead of just by like geographic location or cosmic location, whatever you want to call it, I like that approach, because if you want to run a fantasy style Starfinder game, well, those are the worlds that are best suited for that. And what's really cool about that is when you're designing your game, if you want to run like a Pathfinder adventure path, but have it using the Starfinder rules, then those fantasy worlds, those ones that are better suited for fantasy setting, well, all of a sudden they work a heck of a lot better, right? To make to make converting from Pathfinder to Starfinder a lot more seamless. So I like the fact that they do that. Again, we got new backgrounds for each of those genres as well. Again, broken down by those categories. So, if you want to play a particular type of genre, you can look at the backgrounds that are more befitting of that than maybe picking something where you just don't get to use your abilities because it's a completely different style of gameplay. It does rely on the game master kind of giving you a little bit of a heads up as to what type of game it's going to be, but I like the fact that they're broken down by that as well. And of course, anything that allows you to play a big giant brain with like a shriveling, almost useless body hanging from it, you just gotta love that. So this is all around is I think a great way to start the Starfinder. Again, I don't think there's going to be a huge change between the playtest and the final rules. So having this come out first gives you a little bit more expansion for your playtest characters to go through until the player core does come out, which I think it's going to come out in June. We're near the end of May now, so we're only about a month away from the player core coming out, which I'm looking forward to. But yeah, really great book. The first official second edition finalized rule set book to come out. This is not a playtest book. This is an actual Starfinder second edition final version rule booklet or campaign setting book. So a really cool job that they did here. Like Paizo does great stuff. Starfinder is what got me back into Paizo as a company. So it's really great to see them continue this. And I think with Starfinder second edition, now that it's using the same rule set as Pathfinder, it's going to be easier to develop stuff for, and it's going to be easier to intermix Starfinder into Pathfinder or Pathfinder into Starfinder because they're fully compatible with one another. And when Pathfinder 2nd Edition came out, Starfinder noticeably took a backseat, which is, understandable. Starfinder and Pathfinder first and second editions were all different from one another, right? So to have them use the same rule set is going to make it a lot more approachable. And I'm really looking forward to this. So if you're interested in Starfinder, if you're looking to kind of dip your toes into it, this is a great book to start with because it gives you an idea of just some of the bizarre alien locations that you might be able to find all throughout the galaxy. So anyway, let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite Starfinder official world that you've used in your games? Or what are some of the ones that you've made up yourself for your own adventures, like you're exploring the vast? What kind of stuff have you come up with that? So it's always kind of cool to hear what you guys have done because you guys are a hell of a lot more creative than I am. I'll put that out there. Anyway, thank you all so very much for your time. I truly appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care.